So I did my first attempt at making a patch panel. Since the last time you saw the Karmann Ghia, it looks basically the same. I've put a lot of time into this thing, even though nothing really looks different. The only thing that's really different is that the door is on, and that's because I'm trying to make sure that it fits. And luckily it does fit, but it's gonna need some adjustment later on. But it does go into place, and so that's the important thing. So what I'm gonna try to do, what I wanna do today is actually begin to put stuff back on. So I've got some replacement body panels for all of these sections down here, and I want to start with just one because this is totally new to me. And I want to try to get this right there and get it welded in place. So eventually, once I'm done doing all the body filler and all that stuff, you'll never know that this was replaced. But I've got a whole lot to do before I can actually get all of this stuff in place. I've never done any sheet metal work like this, but basically I want to be able to put this in place and eventually make it look like it was never replaced, like it was an original panel. To do that, I'm gonna have to do even more measuring. I'm gonna have to scribe some stuff, cut some pieces off, clamp it a million times, and then weld it together. And so that's what we're gonna try to do today. Okay, so I need this thing. Where's my little pinchy, clampy sticker? Isn't that cool? Check this thing out. Ah, that's jammed. Well, I guess that's where that's gonna live from now on. To hold lots of things in lots of different ways to. Theoretically, if I cut that right below that line, that panel should butt right up to that and touch all the way across. So I just have to be really careful to not cut past that line. See if this fits. Alrighty. It's close. I gotta trim this front edge here a little bit. It's really close. I don't know how to do this. So I still can't actually fit this on until this one's in place. So I should do that first. And then probably beat this into shape. I've got the first cut done here, but thinking about how all these pieces of the side have to work together, I think I'm gonna have to put in the rocker panel with the door in place so I can figure out exactly where it goes. And then once it's in place, which is 2 new processes for me, then I'm gonna take the door off and then put this piece and the back piece in and make sure that they line up with the rocker panel, and that should all end up working out. Basically, I need to take 3 things and I need to put them all in at the same time to fit them around the door, but the door can't be in place for all 3 of those things to go in. So I'm trying to figure out the order of operations to make it all work. I'm gonna do 2 things on this that I've never done before, in addition to everything else that I've never done before. I'm gonna use 2 different kinds of adhesive to put this on. One is spot welding, and so I'm gonna do a spot weld on the bottom of this to attach it to this, but on the top, I wanna try panel adhesive. And this is basically like a 2-part epoxy stuff that people use for attaching panels of cars to each other. Apparently it's really common practice now. I don't want to use it everywhere. You're not supposed to use it for structural stuff, but I am going to use it across the top here to keep this piece down to this top surface. And then once I get that in place and this outside edge lined up with the door, then I'll go back and spot weld the bottom just like they would at the factory. Like that. And it goes like that. There we go. I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. I have not used this before. I mean, there are instructions, but how much fun is that? All right, so this stuff has about a 90-minute working time. Yeah, so what I should do is take this off, glue that surface, put this back on, and then adjust it. Once I get it adjusted, clamp it. Because if I get it in the right place now, it's not gonna stay there, so. Hello, I'll just put that there. No going back now.
There you go.
Squish it real good. Do that. That's not right, but we're gonna hold it in place. I wish. Oh man! Daggone. All right, so this is a spot welder. It is so heavy, and now I don't have enough room to stand it vertically in there. It is a spot welder. It takes these two tongs things, and you put them around two pieces of metal, then you push them together on it and flick a little switch, and it welds just in that spot those two things together. I've done some tests, and it seems to work pretty well, but this is what it's made for. From the factory, two pieces often get spot welded together. You just kind of press them together rather than having to drill a hole and fill it up. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna try it out. This thing is really heavy, and I have to hold it vertically at an angle and do spot welds about every inch all the way down here. So we'll see. Oh my goodness. Okay, so.
How heavy is it?
It's pretty heavy.
30 pounds?
It's like definitely 1,000 pounds. You ready? Here we go. 2, 3.
So sorry.
That did not work. Why? So I have to scribe this line, but since I cut sections out, it's like flexier than it should be. So I just put a wedge on the backside of it to push it out to meet this new panel. So I can scribe here, and then theoretically when I weld them together they should be out here. I don't know. Totally scribed. Fit better than the first. Ah! I mean, that's pretty good. Put some like duct tape right there. Dunzo. So the plan was to use the spot welder to weld on the section, but we're not going to do that because it doesn't work. I mean, the welder works, but it turns out that welding with that spot welder, two pieces that have weld-through primer on them, it actually won't make the connection and won't do the weld like it's supposed to. I've tested a bunch of different things, looked around online. It should work. I don't know why it doesn't. So instead, we're going to use this. I already used this. This is a punching tool, and it punches a little hole. So I've done that to this entire bottom row, making a bunch of little holes in here every couple of inches. And I'm gonna go back with the MIG welder and just fill those in, and that's gonna make a spot weld. It'll just take more time, more effort, but it should end up being exactly the same. So the entire intent of this whole section is to weld this piece to that piece. I need to work on that line right there. But to get this panel in the right place, I actually had to do that bottom rocker panel, get that welded in. So we're gonna work to this. We're gonna get here eventually, but I have a lot of stuff to do so that it can be in the right place. It's in place. I'll have to come back and like grind all those smooth and stuff, but at least it's there now. So I can start fitting up the next panel, and to do that I have to take the door off.
Hey, that's a cool shirt. Where'd you get it?
ILikeToMakeStuff.com/shop or shop.ILikeToMakeStuff.com. Come on. It's pretty close. It needs to come out. How do I do this? There's no good way to hammer anything. Ooh, that was nice. I mean, I think that works. I think. Man, I don't know. Me? Yes. I'm very nervous. Because I don't really know what I'm doing. I mean, I know what I'm supposed to do, but I don't really know how to do it, so. Done!
Now what?
Now I gotta do that like a billion more times. This first one actually worked pretty well. So I just have to go all the way across and take my time. You have to spread these out. You're supposed to cool them in between welds. So this is one of those places where I have to learn patience. I have to really practice taking my time, going slow, because it's gotta be right. It's not flexing like it was before. Before I could just like bend the whole thing, and now it's starting to become one thing. This is turning out better than I expected. I've got a solid weld, so I have a couple little spots to fill, but overall, like, it's actually working, which is really cool, really encouraging. On the car, I've got a lot more of this type of stuff to do, but as far as right here, this is moving exactly in the direction I wanted it to move, which feels really, really good.
How many days has it been since you started that butt joint weld?
975 days. This actually hasn't taken that long. This section it's not done, but it's like done. It's on, it's attached. These two pieces are attached, it's attached to the bottom, and this is the first piece of like real replacement work that I've done. And it actually wasn't as hard as I was expecting, which is fantastic because I have a whole lot more to do. And since this went so well, still needs some work, but since it went so well, I think I want to shift over to doing this piece on the back side. It's much bigger. It has multiple shapes to it and all that stuff, but I think I want to tackle that. So this one has already been trimmed and it fits really well, if I do say so myself. I just have to make sure that all these surfaces are planar. But before I can put this one on, I have quite a bit of stuff I have to attach down here. I've got to do all of those spot welds along the bottom. I've got to re-weld this thing that I had to cut out and just clean up some rough edges and everything. But that's all pretty easy, and you're not really gonna see any of it because this will be on top of it, and then I'll have to do spot welds again on this piece. Look at that. Ugh. Come on. Oh man, it's totally working. All right, it's not done, but it's there. Like I have an entire panel, actually 2 panels, 3 panels in place. They still need some work. They still need some welding and some more grinding. But I mean, like I have pretty much the side of a car, and I now need to see what it looks like with the door in place. That's gonna cause some more work, but I just wanna see it all there. Ready? Okay, it's rubbing a little bit there. That's cool. It's not perfect. Like that should be on the same plane, but that is, and that is, and that's not. That's fixable. So, now what? Since the last time you saw me, Karmann Ghia, I'm done doing all of the bond. Dang it.
Body filler.
Body filler.
Dang it.
That this was replaced. But I have a lot to do to